everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. This fun coffee poster, very simple, very straightforward. We use like one or two brushes, but super beginner friendly if you're a beginner, or super quick and easy if you are a pro. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra tutorials over on my Patreon, so if you want to check that out, I have it linked in the description below. But before we get started, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette and the special font that we use. They are both linked in the description below. They're totally free to download. For the color palette, just open up the file that downloads on your iPad, and it will automatically pop into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. For the font, there might be another way to do it, but the best way that I know how is to just open up a canvas, click the gear icon, click to add, and add text. And then when your text is selected, go into this font library here and click import font. And then find the font wherever you saved it. So there might be other ways to do it. You might be able to like open the font in Procreate from your files or something, but otherwise I know that that for sure works. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, so here is the color palette that we will be using today. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. We are going to start by setting our background color to this dark blue color. So to do that, we will go to our layer menu, click on this background color layer, and select the first color on the first row of our color palette to fill it in with that color. Then we'll just go back to our layer menu, make sure we're on layer 1 here, and we're first just going to draw the squares that our coffee cup will sit inside. So a white square and then a lighter blue square. So let's just grab the white color from our color palette, the second one on the top row. Grab our selection tool, set it to rectangle, and turn on color fill. And then we'll just start a little ways from the top left corner, kind of an even amount of room on the top and left side, but we can move it around and resize it a little bit. Just kind of start roughly there. Start drawing and draw like what would be close to a square shape. We want a little bit of room on the bottom to write our coffee word. So maybe just about here, leaving a good amount of room all the way around the top left and right side, and then let that go to fill it in. Then again, if we need to, we can resize it and stuff. So with your arrow tool, either on uniform or freeform. So uniform if you think this looks pretty good and square-like, but on freeform if you feel like, you need to either extend or shorten any of the sides to make it a better shape for you, you can do that. I might switch to uniform and just downsize it just a little bit. And then most importantly, we want to center it from left to right. So make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left. And we will just snap it to this vertical yellow line that shows that we're directly centered from left to right. And then again, we just want to double check that the amount at the top, left and right side look about even. And then we have our room on the bottom for our letters. Okay, then to just get the white border, this is just our background piece. We'll make another square in the light blue color. So to do that, we will just go to our layer menu, slide to the left and hit duplicate on the square layer so we just get another one and we don't have to redraw it. Make sure we're on the top one, grab our third color on the top row of the color palette, and drag and drop to fill in our new square. Then click our arrow tool on uniform and we're going to downsize it a little bit and then continue to recenter it. So with snapping turned on, you will also center with your square behind it. So we have our yellow vertical line and then we have a blue horizontal line, and that shows that we're in the center of our square in the back. So just downsize it as much as you would like to get a nice white border. So you can do a really thin one or a thicker one, just kind of whatever works for you. I'm just going to go with a nice thin one like so. All good and centered. And now we can just jump straight into drawing our coffee cup. So to do so, we will go to our layer menu, add a new layer, grab our white color again, the second one on the top row, and we are going to use our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab, set to 100%, and we're just going to draw a nice perfect circle in the center of our square. So obviously, again, we can move it around so you don't have to actually put it in the center right now, but just kind of start roughly around here, draw a nice good circle shape, hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth, and then touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. So just set a good size. We don't want it to be huge, but not tiny either, just kind of a nice medium size in the center of our circle here, like so. Okay, and then I want it to be a little thicker than this, but this is as thick as our monoline brush gets. So to make it thicker, we are just going to go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of the circle layer that we just created. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. Either one that you're on is fine. Grab your arrow tool on uniform and we're going to downsize it a little bit. And then we're just going to recenter our circles again, like so. So where you should see two blue lines that shows that they are centered with each other. So just a little thicker is fine. I don't even have like a gap in between my two circles. They just kind of touch each other and make them a little thicker. So then once that is set, we will go to our layer menu, snap our two circle layers together so they're all on one layer. And then we can move it around some more. So with our arrow tool, still you can resize it on uniform if you need to. And then we just kind of want to center it on our square again. So we should see the vertical yellow line and the blue horizontal line, like so. Okay, then we're going to see a little bit of the inside of our coffee cup. So to do that, we are going to make another duplicate of this circle. So on our layer menu, slide to the left and hit duplicate on the circle layer. Select the bottom one this time. Go to our color palette, select the first color on the second row, and drag and drop to fill in our circle. So just drag and drop right on the circle. You won't see the color change because it's underneath our white circle, but you'll see it here in a second. So then we will grab our arrow tool on uniform and we will downsize that behind circle. And now you can see the different color, and then we're going to continue to recenter it. So again, we just want like a nice thick kind of inside area here in this other color. So maybe about like this. Just again, make sure it's nice and centered with our other circle. So you should see a vertical yellow line and a horizontal blue line. Okay, and then lastly, we are going to make the coffee inside, so the coffee color. So again, if you need to do any more resizing, now's the time to do so. I might make mine a teeny bit bigger. So if you need to do any more resizing now, you'll have to resize them both together. So I'm going to go to my layer menu. I have this layer already selected. I'll slide right on the other circle layer, click my arrow tool on uniform and increase the size and then recenter it. So do that if you would like. I just made it a teeny tiny bit bigger. Okay, and then now we will go ahead and make our coffee inside. So to do so, we are going to, again, make a duplicate of our top white circle. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. Either one of them, we are going to drag below our kind of cream colored one so that we're right below it there. Then on this layer at the very bottom of all of our circles, we are going to grab the second color on the second row of our color palette and drag and drop that in the center. And that is our coffee. Next up, we'll make the start of our foam. Okay, so back to our layer menu. Let's this time make a duplicate of our cream colored circle again. So our cream colored circle, slide to the left and hit duplicate. Grab the bottom one. Grab the third color on the second row of the color palette and drag and drop it on your cream circle to fill it in. Again, you won't see it because it's below it, but on your layer menu here, you should see the difference in color. And then we will again grab our arrow tool and we are just going to downsize it a little bit on uniform. And this time it's not going to be perfectly centered. We're going to have a little bit more show on the left than on the right. So I still want to see a little teeny bit on the right. So I'm just going to downsize it a little bit more so that on the right side here, I still see just the tiniest little sliver of this lighter brown color. But then we see a lot more on the left side here. And then it just kind of gets thinner on the top and bottom as it gets further to the right. So something like this. Then on the same layer, we are going to use our brush tool, our monoline brush still at 100%. And we are going to just kind of add some more foam on the left side. So starting just like on this top left corner of the circle here, I am just going to kind of draw a little like kind of wavy line meeting down at the bottom like so. And then I'm just going to kind of smooth it all out. So down here at the bottom, I will just kind of smoothly connect it a little bit better. Same thing at the top here. I'm just going to kind of round this so it's not like a sharp edge. It's more rounded together. Like so. If you need to change your brush size to do this, go ahead and do so. But just get kind of a nice section like this, and then we will fill in this section in between. So right here, you might have a little ghost of like a cream colored line from our previous circle. So just go ahead and fill that in. Okay, you can also use your eraser tool on the monoline brush if you need to kind of smooth things out a little bit more. If you want to get rid of some of it, so like this far, I got a little too far out here, I think. So I'm just gonna kind of erase some of it in a nice, smooth motion. Kind of smoothing it out as I go. So it looks nice and clean. Okay, then we're going to add bubbles to our foam here on the left. So to do that, we'll go to our layer menu, add another new layer right above the layer that we're on right now. Grab our second color on the second row of the color palette, the same color that we used to fill in our main coffee area. Same monoline brush at 100%. And I'm just going to make a couple like bigger circles. So like if you just touch your screen, that's like the size of a dot. That's a good size for some of our smaller ones, but we're going to make a few bigger ones. So I'm going to actually like draw a circle shape, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle, and then downsize it a good bit so it's just like a nice size bubble. If there's anything showing in the middle, you can tap in there to fill in with this darker color. But I might just make like one big one there, maybe a kind of smaller one here. Maybe another kind of small one back here. So I have like one big one, two medium ones. When I tap, that's kind of a similar size to our medium one. So I'm going to now downsize my brush a little bit to like 50%. And we will just kind of tap around to get a few of these kind of smaller bubbles. You can even do the same thing, kind of draw a little circle to kind of make some more like in-betweenish sizes. We're just going to kind of tap this around sporadically, just keeping it mostly over here. We can have a teeny bit go here where there's enough room for one, but otherwise it will just kind of end, you know, right where our kind of blob that we drew ends. So maybe some of those, and then we will downsize our brush again to like 20% and do a few more really small ones here and there. Like so, till you have a good kind of variation. Okay, then we want to just kind of make them look a little more 3D. So to do that, we are going to go to our layer menu. We are first going to make a duplicate of this bubbles layer. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. Select the one on the bottom. Click on it and turn on alpha lock. Grab the first color on the second row, the cream color again. Back to our layer menu, this one on the bottom with alpha lock turned on, click on it and click fill layer. And you should see on your layer menu that they turned a different color, the cream color, but you obviously won't see it on your canvas yet because they're behind our darker layer on top here. So then select this darker bubbles layer, click on it and set it to a clipping mask. Grab your arrow tool and we are just going to tap to the top and left side like once or twice to get a nice just kind of little highlight on the bottom right where you can see our lighter color underneath. So I just did 2 taps there. Okay, then we'll go to our layer menu, add another new layer. right above this one, and this is where we will draw like the little like white marks on our bubbles to make them look even more 3D. So we will switch our brush this time to the Studio Pen under the inking category. So this one gets a little smaller than the monoline brush, and it has like a tapered end to it, so that is nice. So we'll set the size to like 10% to start. Let's see how that goes. I will start with like my bigger bubbles and make kind of like some little just kind of curved lines like so. Just kind of sticking maybe to the top left. So some I'll just do like a little curved line and a dot. Maybe a dot on each side, something like that. Okay, then in these kind of like more medium-sized bubbles, we can do just a tiny little mark in the top left. Feel free to change your brush size if necessary, depending on how hard or light you just push naturally as you're drawing. Okay, and then we will just leave the rest alone. So all the other really tiny ones, we can just leave as is. They still have their little kind of ring on the other side to help them look kind of 3D. So that looks good. Okay, so now to save some layers, we can snap all of our bubble layers together. So once you're done messing with those, just snap all 3 layers together. So the lightest one on the bottom, the darker one in the middle, the clipping mask, and the light little details we just drew, all onto one layer there. Okay, and now we're going to draw a shadow on the inside of the coffee cup on the top right corner, because our light will be coming from the top right corner, so it will cast a shadow inside right here, and then cast a shadow on our blue square going this way. So for the inside of the coffee cup shadow, we are going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer right above our cream colored ring, so right below our white one still. Click the N on this layer to open up the options and drag it up to multiply. And select the first color on the last row of the color palette. And switch back to our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. Set the size to 50%. And we are just going to start kind of in this top left corner. We're going to draw a nice curved line going down towards the bottom right corner like this. So a nice curved line, hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth. And I just started under the white ring on this side, and I'm ending under the white ring on this side. Once you let it go, you can click this Edit Arc button at the top to adjust it if you need to. So you can adjust the curve, you can adjust the end. So if yours ended up like out here, you can still adjust that, you know, so it just kind of goes nicely right there. We just have like a little sliver being covered, so nothing too crazy. We're not covering like half or anything, just maybe like a quarter of it, I would say. Then we'll grab our brush tool again, and I will just kind of go around the edge here from side to side to connect our lines so that we can fill in this section here. And that is our nice shadow. Lastly, for our coffee cup, we need a handle on it. So to do that, we are going to go to our layer menu. We're going to add a new layer right above the layer that we were just on, still underneath our white ring layer. Switch back to our white color, second one on the top row, same monoline brush, drag that back up to 100%. And we're just going to start on the ring on the right side here, right on the right side, and draw a nice horizontal line going out a little bit this way. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. So we'll just stick it out maybe like this far is all. Then we'll click our arrow tool on freeform. And we're just going to increase the top and bottom here to make it wider. So we get a nice little handle shape like so. So it gets a little bit fuzzy on the top and bottom, but from far away we won't really notice that. That is okay. But just make it a nice good thickness like so. I might make mine even a little bit thicker. And then with your arrow tool, you can then recenter it. So we want it centered kind of with our coffee cup. So you should see a blue line pop up here that centers it there. Okay, that looks great. So then once you're done messing with that, to save some more layers, we can go ahead and just snap the handle and our ring layer together onto one layer there, like so. Lastly, for our coffee cup area, we are just going to make the shadow underneath it going off the side of our blue square. So to make that, we'll go to our blue square layer, add a layer right above it, click the N on this layer and drag it up to multiply again, like we did earlier. And then we are also going to click on it and set it to a clipping mask. Then we will grab the second color on the last row of the color palette. Same monoline brush at 100%. And we are just going to start on the top left of our circle here, just kind of under our white rim, right on the edge here, and draw a nice diagonal line going down into the left. Hold it down until it turns perfectly straight, and then touch your finger on the screen to find a certain angle, because we're going to match that on the other side. So I am going to probably pick this one, so it is 3 up from vertical. So this is vertical or horizontal, it's 3 from each of those. So 3 down or 3 to the left from those. Have it go off the edge of the screen here, off the edge of my blue square anyway. Then we can click this line button at the top to adjust it. Don't change the angle at all, so don't use any of the blue dots to adjust it, but you can just move it around. So if you just kind of touch anywhere else, you can move it. And we just want to line it up nicely with the edge of our coffee cup here, so it looks like it's coming off of it, like so. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So kind of this bottom right corner, draw that again, another line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen and find that same angle. So 3 down from horizontal, have it go off the blue square. And then again, click the line button if you need to move it around, and just line it up with the corner of our coffee cup there, like so. Then we just need to connect these so we can fill them in. So I'm just going to kind of start right about here, draw across till I hit that line, and then I'll just kind of draw around the corner here, making sure it's all filled in, and then fill in the middle. And that gives us a nice shadow for our coffee cup. Okay, and then the last thing to do is just add the coffee text. So to do that, we will just go to our layer menu. We will just find the top layer on our layer menu. You don't need to add a new layer. Text adds itself on a new layer already. So all we need to do is click the gear icon under Add, click Add Text. But that just helps so it's at the top of our layers. But then I'll just grab my arrow tool and I'll just move it down towards the bottom. And then if you just tap on it, you should be able to either click Edit Text or the text box will pop up. Double tap the text to select it. Let's first set the color to white. So with it selected, just click to open up the color palette and then select the second color on the top row to set it to white. Okay, then with it still selected, let's just go ahead and click this font button down here so we can change the font. And that should be the special font that you downloaded. The Made Tommy Soft font, bold. Okay. Click on it again, double tap it again, and now we can type. So grab our keyboard and type COFFEE with a capital C, lowercase other letters. Then we'll double tap it again, and now we can change the size and stuff. So just click in this font area here to bring up our options again. So let's set the size to maybe 120 to 125, somewhere in there. Extend this text box if you need to on the side so that it all fits on one line. And then our tracking, let's actually just set it to like somewhere around like 7 to 8%, somewhere in there. Okay, then we can use our arrow tool and just kind of set it a little bit better where we want it so it's kind of centered in this area here. Just from top to bottom there, and then kind of centered from left to right, but we'll recenter that in a moment once we make our second layer. So now we're going to make a second text in a different color, kind of offsetting on the left so that it gives it like a little bit of a 3D effect. So to do that, we will go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of our coffee text. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. Select the bottom one, click on it, and click rasterize. So that just means it's now like a normal layer with like an image on it instead of being text. So we can't edit the text, we can't edit the font, the letters, anything like that. But what we can do is draw on this layer now and recolor it. So to recolor it first, let's click on the layer, set it to alpha lock. Grab our light blue color, the third one on the top row. Go back to our layer menu, click on this layer and click fill layer. So now it filled in light blue. Again, it's behind our white text, so we can't see it yet. But then click on it again and turn off alpha lock. So now we're going to kind of draw on it to connect our letters in a moment. So then with alpha lock turned off, it's set to our light blue color. We're just going to click our arrow tool. So first let's turn on magnetics and then we can move it straight to the left, keeping it in line, just a little bit there. So we see some of our light blue color, like so. Then we will grab our pen tool on our light blue color still, so the third one on the top row, still on our monoline brush. Let's drop the size though to like 30%. And now we're just going to connect our letters so they look like they're all like one block. So instead of the C looking like it's two separate layers, we're going to connect it at these 2 points here. So right where there's this gap here, we will connect the blue to the white, and we're under the white layer. So we'll just start right on the corner of the blue, draw a line towards the white area, hold it down till it turns perfectly straight. And then we can click the line button at the top to kind of adjust it. So we just kind of wanted to make like a nice seamless transition from the blue color to the white color like so. So they're kind of connected. Let's do the same thing on the bottom. So draw a line, hold it down, click the line button at the top to adjust it. Okay. Then we'll leave the curved areas alone on these ones. The F doesn't need anything. The E will need this a little bit at the bottom is all. So there's not a whole lot to do with these letters. Like we've done in the past has been a little bit more, but these ones aren't too bad. Just need to connect these few areas where there's a big gap. Otherwise, everything looks pretty smooth and connected. Okay, so then to be able to center them, we also need to rasterize our top white coffee layer, just because otherwise it doesn't see it as like the same kind of a layer to center with. So we will just go to our layer menu on this top coffee layer that still has our little text symbol here. We will click on it and click rasterize. But to center it, we will just have our white one selected, slide right on our blue one underneath it to select it also. Click our arrow tool on uniform with snapping turned on in the bottom left. And we will just kind of center it on our yellow line here once we find that. Just make sure it's again kind of centered from top to bottom in this little space that we have down here. And you can resize it also. So if you need to resize it at all on uniform or freeform, go ahead and do so, and then just make sure to recenter it there. Okay, and then once that is set, that is it for our drawing today. So I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you want to check out my exclusive tutorials over on Patreon, again, I have that linked in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. Also, if you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching!